Interesting. All right, I think we are live. Sweet. Hold on. Let me go ahead and share the stream with people. All right, cool. Cool. Let's take a look at this. Why I left Google, work-life balance. Quit job to go work for a 40-person startup. And work needed work-life balance. Secret project Emerald Sea. TGF on Friday, and we attended in person. So why was he unhappy? Yeah, he's been doing well in his career. One is for career, second is for physical health, and the third is for social and family life. Water represents your level of satisfaction, not the hours you spend. And he got caught up in the Great Resignation. Bucket number 3, destroyed for most people. And bucket number 1 had been running low for a while. His satisfaction with his career, I guess. Alright, that's fine. Ongoing meme inside Google. Miss the satisfaction of building and finishing projects. Sure. Each other, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this is basically describing like what it's like to work in a corporate structure and how he was like not really satisfied with that. Okay, that's fair. Spent my energy protecting my team from the chaos. Wanted them to finish the projects that they were excited about. Day deflecting personal reorgs or project cancellations from new leaders. Wave of organizational changes, that's fair. He was burnt out despite working fewer hours than before. Okay. Work somewhere where this class of problem doesn't exist. Sure. Understood the potential of the product. Initial ideas had them come out with actual features. Shared his views on Twitter and found this was agreeing with them. And he decided to reach out. Okay, fair enough. And so he had enough salary to pay his bills, a role he's excited about, enough equity that he would come out instead of Google. Yeah, that's fair. But you only really you only are afforded this opportunity when you have enough investments that you could probably be okay. Like if let's say the company goes under, Google will be. Yeah. If the company goes under, then you would be okay for retirement. That's basically the luxury afforded to people here. So is he happier? Yes. He works more hours, but he's likely to be He's less likely. Wait, he's more likely to be working on evenings and weekends. But progress feels 10x faster. Sure. More energy, more motivation. When one bucket fills, it can overflow. Okay, interesting. Hey, Bob Jones says, hey, Edward, tips for burnout. I have a few interviews coming up in about a month, spread out, but they feel exhausted from studying, work. Should I take a day or two off from studying? So the thing about burnout, especially when it comes to interviews, is straight up that you only have like a certain window when you're at peak performance and when you start dropping off. So let me describe it to you like this. When someone goes to the gym, they're like pulling heavier and heavier weights. Every single week you might be able to add like 5 more pounds or 10 more pounds to your bench, right? But at some point, your muscles just don't recover fast enough to add like, say, that X 10 pounds or 5 pounds or whatever, right? And so at that point, you need to like deload and just like kind of take a 60% off, So let's say your top set as a newbie is like 135, right? And then like you can't make any progress after that because like your muscles are too tired or whatever the fuck is going on. So basically after that you want to drop down to like 60% of your maximum load, which would probably be like 100 pounds or something like that, and then be able to work back up from there so that way the next time you can go further. And then there's also like a few other things as well in there, like the block should be like 6 to 8 weeks and then rest. And so basically what I would recommend, the short answer is, yeah, take a week off actually from interviews because there's only so many things that you can do. And I think it's pretty unfair to ask people to really like be able to manage like work, and studying and interviews all at the same time. It's literally impossible unless you're fucking crazy like me. The reason why I'm crazy is because I literally spend every single waking moment doing something. Well, if I wake up, go to work, then go to the gym, and food, and then end the evening. I am like reading. I am probably doing more work here, and then I go to bed. And the reason why I do that is just because I find the work that I do meaningful. Like I'm learning something each time I do something. And so I don't really burn out in that regard. But I can understand if you're just working for the sake of, oh my god, I'm putting so much effort into just this one little result that I don't even know what it feels like, then that can be grounds for burnout. So I totally understand where you're coming from. So I would, if you're feeling exhausted, take 1 week at least from studying. Like literally, do not look at a book, do not study. Just spend that time like with your phone in a fucking cookie jar. You'll be surprised after a week how much time you actually have. I think it kind of hit me actually a little bit, probably around halfway, like a year ago. Like if I turn off my phone, literally for between the hours of like 6 p.m. and before, and then I wake up the next morning, I literally realized, holy shit, all this time that I have, most of it was just spent just like on my phone, like scrolling through like Hacker News or some shit. And so after that, I was able to recover like an hour or two after that, and I was like, oh shit, all this thing I'm doing, I don't need my fucking phone. I honestly think that if you could turn it off between those times, you will realize how much time you actually have, and how much time you waste like just scrolling aimlessly. And I'll tell you this, like, I was able to accomplish a lot even with that handicap. So I definitely do recommend that you at least be a little bit more cognizant of where you spend your time. iPod Touch is going to be discontinued. Yeah, man. I still remember my first Apple product was actually a mini that my mom got and that she just gave to me because she already had an iPhone and she got the mini at work. So I got that, and then eventually I just upgraded to the iPod Touch because I just like my family would just be like, hey, you already have like that little shitty flip phone, right? From like those pay-as-you-go phones, right? You don't need an iPhone. It's like, okay, fine. So then I just like got one of these iPod Touches. I think it was like I want to say it's the 2G version that I got. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like sitting somewhere at my mom or dad's house. So yeah. Okay, Tiger Global, hit by 17 billion in hedge fund losses, has nearly depleted its VC fund. Okay, Tiger Global. If it is, this isn't like the Bill Huang one, right? 21-year-old outfit loss of 17 billion during this year's tech sell-off. The hedge fund's assets have been hit so hard that whatever happened in the past 4 months erased about 2/3 of its gains since 2001. Holy shit. Holy shit. Okay, this is actually pretty fucking interesting. On one hand, it's not entirely astonishing that they put so much capital to work. Okay, let's see. That it continues to outpace every other investor in the first quarter of this year. Okay, so they're still investing. They're still investing since December. So the question is, how much money can collect for its fund and by when? That's true. Like, if you're seeding all these companies, where's the capital coming from? Okay, likelihood. So the firm's private portfolio funds has generated a 25% net IRR since inception in 2003. Hey, that's pretty good. They have soft commitments in place. Okay, fair. Remaining value in the fund decreased by 9%, following an increase of 54% in 2021. Yeah, how much of their investments do they actually sell? Actually, I'm very curious. Like, how much of the portfolio did they sell off before the dip? Yeah, I don't have access to this number, but I'm curious to see like where the hell are they pulling these numbers from? If you have a high burn rate and have raised money at high prices, you're going to run into a brick wall very fast. There's no free money anymore. Correct. So like the way to explain this and understand this is that if you give a company money at an extremely high valuation that is overvalued their intrinsic value, you've essentially just given them free money. Or it's like the way I see it is like you're overpaying for a stock, or you buy I don't know, let's say this pen, right? Let's say it's like normally $1, or yeah, just to keep numbers good. And then you're paying $5 for it. You just have to give the pen company $5 for it. Well, that's basically what this is. You're overpaying for an intrinsic value of a company. So let's see. I want to see what Tiger Global's portfolio. Oh yeah, whale wisdom. Yo, Breadcat, you gotta give me a free what's it called, membership on this. So let's see. Oh wait, no, I have a Guru's Focus, don't I? I can just use that. I still have my Guru's Focus subscription, I think. Should be able to use that. Okay, great. And then Tiger Global. Stock not found. Oh god. Alright. Okay, so it looks like this is 8 pages of it. So let's just look at their their rank 1 market value. Let's organize by market value. 3.7 billion. JD, Microsoft, ST, New, and Snow. So that should occupy about, yeah, these positions 10. This is like 25% of their portfolio. 37. Yeah, so you take like the top, what, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, top 10 holdings. You basically end up with half their portfolio right there. I mean, you just model off that, I think. So actually, you know, let's bring up some of them. Yeah, look. Okay, let's see what JD.com. Wait, can I not look at the individual stock chart? Interesting. That would Thinkorswim. I'm not logging to Thinkorswim. Screw that. Oh, wait. This might work. Wait, Finviz actually has it. Sweet. Hold up. Where is? Oh, this tracks most volatile. Never mind. Anyway. Percent change, 5% ownership, quarter of ownership, portfolio share amount. Yeah. Close out, choose no change. Yeah, I don't know. But I know, like, let's just bring these up one by one actually. Well, actually, oh, it's 8 p.m. Let me bring my client on. Hey, hello.
Yo, hello.
Hey, what's up?
Doing good. How about you?
Hey, doing good. I'm recovered actually quite a bit from
Oh, me too. Me too.
yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, it's good, man. Yeah, so let's take a look at like what you got going. I know you said you did a what's it called? Mock interview on Saturday.
Yep.
How'd that one go?
I did on the Sunday.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, actually, the question was to check if a list, linked list, was a palindrome, right? And inside of this problem, there were three more problems.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I think it's more a big problem, extensive problem. You need to write a lot of code, but once you figure out what you have to do, it's kind of to do.
Oh, the first one that you
And
have up here.
no, I think is if you move. Oh yeah, the part.
Reconstruct
Yeah.
binary tree from a traversal data.
No, actually, this one I did by myself, right?
Okay.
Let me check here. Here's this.
This is very similar to the serialize and deserialize an array tree.
Yeah, they are like each one have the parts like the specifics, right?
Yeah, but I get I have no
Um,
I'm very confident you should be able to do this.
yeah, I did. Like was pretty. I just got the point to take the halves of the lists pretty fast.
Yeah. And if you got it, did you get it right?
Yes,
Uh,
yes, I did.
of course you did. Yeah,
Well,
it's good.
I think. Okay, just give me a minute
Yeah, yeah.
because let me take the link. I thought I copied here.
Did you? I'm on problem sheet 16.
Yeah, it's problem sheet 16 actually.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought I'd copy, but it's not there. I swear I copied. Because we use a platform called CodeShare.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No problem.
Uh, then triplets. Validate string. Not this one. Actually, it's on the video. If you want to follow in the video, it's on the video as well.
Okay. Okay. Actually, let
Yeah,
me.
the mock interview.
So I want you to like kind of briefly go over like any troubles that you might have had, because to me, like a lot of this work, it's good. Like I don't see any glaring issues. The what's it called, the examples seem pretty straightforward. The code seems very self-explanatory. I'm wondering if you ran into any issues at all.
Honestly, no.
Good.
No. I think that for some questions like that I've been doing, sometimes I get just a little bit of time just thinking, just trying out my idea. But remember, like in our past sessions where you said to me, keep on practicing and like this instinct is gonna get better.
Uh-huh.
Like I think it's not that good, but I think it's reasonable for like the interviews because I can think through solutions, and know where I'm losing my time. I'm like too much to think, and I think it's on the balance. I'm kind of balanced on chewing the chicken, as you mentioned.
Yeah, it'll instantly be there. You don't have to think too much about it. The way I describe it is
No.
that you never really get perfect, but your instinct gets better and better, with different scenarios. So, for instance, let's take this problem right here. You said you have generated power set, right? I don't even know I don't remember what a power set is. Oh, so I was like, okay, 15.5, power set 012, 012. I'm like, okay, well, instantly, I'm like, I know I have to do some kind of recursion. I know I'm going to be generating sets. I know I'm going to be adding them to a list, and I know I'm probably going to do some kind of the backtracking. Instantly, that's the four instinct right there. And then after that, everything is like I'm reasonably certain that's the direction I want to go, and the rest is just filling it in. So you never really get past that what's it called? You never really say, oh my god, I can totally see the answer. It's just like, yeah, you gain some like 80% confidence interval of like the skeleton of it, and then when you go into that one step, you instantly see like the other 80% as well, and it just keeps going.
Yeah, and the things seems to me that the things start to fit, like one thought start to fit with the other.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice, this feeling.
Yeah, it's like I instantly know what I need to do here. All that's left is for me to make sure what the heck is going to go wrong. So, yeah, so let me go ahead and download actually one of your videos then. Which one is the one that you said that you had difficulty with?
None of the two. I just recorded for you to see the
Okay.
the point.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna take for I don't know. I just want to hear your opinion as well. Like for this week,
Yeah.
do you recommend me like for honor classes once? Because I feel like I'm in the point that there's no problem for the normals, like the normal problems, that is being challenging. So I need a very fancy thought process.
Yeah. I think I think doing the challenge problems is pretty much what's gonna help you at this point. Because again, like I'm looking at this code, your plan. It's like you did the example, you did this branching factor, and then your plan here is very straightforward. It's very clean. This is like literally the best that I've seen from you, actually.
Oh, that's pretty nice to hear.
Yeah, good job.
Oh, thank you. If you want to search on the problem sheet, if you search for list, right, it's on the second occurrence of the word. That's the problem I did on the mock interview.
Okay, so I searched for list, right?
Yeah, you search for list, then like you're gonna find actually the first one that was from the planning, traverse the list to get the size, define the splitting point. You see?
Which I'm in your practice diary. Which row?
No, I'm saying like if you want to check the code of the mock interview,
Yeah.
is on the problem sheet 16.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the name of the problem?
Verify palindromacy of a linked list.
Oh.
He have not copied the name, so I just start
So
like
it starts here,
you
right?
see? Yeah, that's the point.
Okay, you want to verify that a list has a palindrome principle to it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's fine. Yeah, let me take a look and see how you did this. 1, 2, 3 is not palindromistic, and then this one is 1, 2, 1. I want to rank this like palindromicity for a linked list is probably like somewhere between easy to medium, actually.
Yeah, there's no point where I have difficulty.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. So you walk through this. That's fine. And looks like you're looking to reverse the list.
Yeah, I
as well.
was
Okay.
trying possibilities.
Sure. So let's see what your plan is. So you're gonna traverse the list to get the size. Okay. Save the splitting point, which is like I'm guessing that's size n divided by 2.
Yeah.
Okay. So I see. And then save the right hand side into an extra head. Okay, so first of all, I would say make sure that you properly define splitting point as n divided by 2. Right hand side into an extra head, so the front of the list. Okay, fine. And then invert and the left hand side to set this to the original head.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna reverse the left hand side of the list.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, traverse both pointers simultaneously, comparing the parity of the node. Okay, so the algorithm works. I'm just wondering if you might be, what's it called? Iterating over it too many times. Your algorithm works. It's just like seems there to be a little bit more you can clean up, but that's it.
At this point, like Leandro, that is the name of the interview, he said, like you're traversing too many times, right?
Yeah.
For this first time to get the size of list.
Yes.
Do you have another solution, like to go faster or not? If not, that's not a problem. Just to see. And then I remember one technique of like slow and fast pointers.
Yep.
Then I can get to the middle much faster. So I implemented using the solution as well.
Good.
And I have one bad point of this question.
Yeah.
I think like even though I knew exactly what I had to do, was kind of confused because I kind of like used the head A to take the second half of the list, and use the head B. I was kind of I didn't like this,
Yeah. Your naming convention.
This could be
here.
Yeah, could be simple. Yeah.
So the thing is that head A represents the first list, and head B represents the second list. So why not just call it head list 1, head list 2?
Yeah. I choose letters.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Cur 1, Cur 2. So basically, it's the way you might get dinged for this later on, and of course we're starting to get into like the really like 5% of the interview points right now. That your variable naming does count. So it's important to remember what we said about like code represents ideas. Well, if you think about what these variables like and which ideas these variables run to, then you can choose the appropriate name. In this case, this head A, head B means that you want to find the middle, but that means that you also want, and from that middle, you want to create those two lists. So therefore, it's just ahead of the first list or ahead of second list. So.
I see. Yeah, much more sense than B and A.
Just remember why these variables are here and what purpose they serve, and then it'll be very straightforward.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and because you already did this exercise of identifying what the idea is behind the code, I think it's gonna be pretty simple. So that's fine. And then your code looks right, I think. So it does not skip. If curve value 1 does not, well, and not skip.
That skip flag is for the case we have even and an odd list, like, yeah. So we need to skip, just to compare, because it can be palindromes being even or odd,
Why not just check if the end is null? Why skip? Because you can still start.
Actually, I catch the detail while testing. I knew that I need to check for even and odd sized lists. And after I did my idea, I acknowledged this problem. And I think I told the interviewer, well, yeah, there's this case, right? And that was the first solution. But he showed me a better solution that I could have done.
This skip flag doesn't really make sense to me because all you need to do is just go until the node, like the node is null. So I'm very confused what the even odd number of list is, because
For example, let me try to explain you.
Yeah, sure.
For example, imagine that we have here, okay, on your cursor here.
Sure.
Imagine that we have this example, 3, 2, 1. Okay. What's gonna happen is that I'm gonna split the list, right, and then invert this first one. So it's gonna be, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Then while you're traversing both lists, so one pointer here and the other here, okay, I will check that those 3 and 2, they're different. Then I skip 1,
Okay.
And then, then I can go from the same point, like 2 equal to 2, and then 1 equal to 1. If in case they are different, like let's say 3 again, then the skip flag is gonna be false, and I'm gonna return false. See, that is in this part here.
Okay, but then but you already had set up this solution, right? So then let's say I had, let's say 9 here or something like that. Well, then all you have to do is just why? Because why not just have them point to the end same node?
Oh, actually, where do you copy this? Because
I copied it from above. You were the one who wrote this.
No, actually, this one the interviewer was showing me a better solution.
Oh.
Actually, that was not me. I didn't wrote this.
Got it. Okay, so
it was showing
you
me.
missed it. I mean, okay, it's fine. I think in general, when you flag something like this, it's a little bit of a, okay, are you out of powder? Are you out of like ideas to fix the core issue of the code? And if you are, that's when you kind of slap the flag on. But I'm very hesitant to flag it unless it's like a very easy thing or it's a method of last resort. So
method of last resort.
Yes. Okay. So to me, like when you had this algorithm of finding the middle and then reversing, it's just like, well, this step seems very obvious to me. And I think what you did is you broke. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Because to me, this is very obvious. Because you start the reversal from 3 to 2 to 1. Then you actually end up in this actually becomes very easy. So.
That is the solution that he showed me again. So it's easier.
So my question is, what would we have to do in order for you to recognize that first in the future?
Think about the possible ways I could traverse. For example, like I just acknowledged one way to traverse, actually to invert the first half of the list, and didn't think about other possibility and consider the trade-offs. If I have like actually spend, I'd say 1 minute more trying to see other ways I can invert the list and see what they might help me. I probably will see this. I think that is the point.
I think I think that's a little too specific. So let me help you out here. The thing is how many what's it called? I think the trick is actually to see how much how much work we can do ahead of time without like straying away from this idea of one idea per chunk of code. So in this case, the idea here would be like, okay, you're taking this idea of inverting a list and then comparing that list, right? That's how you get to this situation. But the I think the better way would be like, okay, well now I have two heads, right? And I decided to point one here, and I decided to point one here. So you decide to start from the midpoint out, and then you decide to reverse. Yeah. So you only reverse the left hand side, and then you moved over to the right hand side.
Yeah.
So the question then becomes, well, why don't I just start from the middle for both of these? Because that way I make the what's called the recursion, make the step-by-step very easy. It's just choosing where you change the start of the head, so that way you can avoid the flag. Yeah, it's a little bit hard. I think this one's, again, is just kind of the instinct thing. Is like, I'm trying to describe it the best I can, but the instinct here is, can I do a little bit more here? Can I start maybe with a head at a previous node to save myself some grief later on?
I see. In the case you have an even like number of nodes, for example, let's take this.
Yeah.
Like we would consider the middle one of those twos, right?
Correct.
But then I would compare like 2 with 2 and then 1 with 1.
That's true. Yeah, you do bring up a good point, because with the fast slow pointer technique, you would, if I understand correctly, you're starting at 1 2, and then you would have this 2 here, and then you would skip over to 1, and then after that you would end up at this 2. So I understand where you're coming from. I totally understand where you're coming from.
Okay, I see.
I don't really fault you for this one either. I understand why he showed this to you. But I don't fault you for not getting it. It's just more of an exercise, like, oh, how can I do better?
One thing that I kept like thinking, right, while before doing this flag, before putting this flag here, was maybe on the splitting point, no, like this, the half, if like it's a even or odd list, beforehand, so I can do something on the while. That's maybe the directions I was going to, but it was not correct anyways.
Yeah, but like the guy showed you, just reverse the list going back forward. So it's kind of like a setup. It's hard for me to describe, but I'm not gonna punish you for it, and I don't think the guy is gonna punish you for it either. Did he say like, oh, you should have gotten a cleaner, or?
No, he didn't punish. Yeah. Like he didn't. He just he pointed out that could be simple in his vision,
I mean, it's fine. I'm not gonna nitpick on it. You got a relatively clean approach, clean code, and then you need to have like this little bit of clever insight on the revision, which is like pretty normal. So it's fine. But yeah, it's just worth remembering. Okay. Other than that, implementing a try. Okay, let's.
Yeah, actually.
Go ahead.
Let me just one point about this one. Yesterday before sleep, I was watching one video like about experience about Microsoft, right? And guy said that like a question using a try. And my friend, the one that got an offer from Microsoft, got a question of tries,
Yeah.
Then I think to myself, I need to know how to implement this.
Yeah.
I try by myself first.
Uh-huh.
And that's pretty much why I did this.
Okay, well, it's good. It's good that you have that. At least you understand what it takes to do this. That's fine. I remember actually getting this question probably back in like 2016 for Google. Like, can you implement a try? And I remember I had to
just straightforward implement a try.
Yeah, or something like that.
Oh, I see.
I don't quite remember it, but yeah, So let's see. Insert words for each character in the words. If the character is not in the node, new node.
Create a new node.
Yeah. Current node card.
And move the pointer.
And then you move the pointer to.
Yeah, actually, this point I am mapping the new node with the the hash map of childs, and then I
Ah.
move the pointer. Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're doing. Personally, I would have just put new node in here, but I understand. No, actually, no, you're right. This is right. You're right. Yeah, yours. Okay, I understand what you're doing here. It's fine. I think I think you would have. This is something that probably you would have to walk through the interviewer with, but I don't think you're not wrong.
No, but I implement this try like just as a normal code interview, like explaining all the line of thought, all
That's fine.
this thing here.
Okay, that's fine. This would all get initialized to false.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, no, I'm happy that you decided to take the initiative to do this. It's fine. What's the thing that you
Yeah.
got? I would say let's shift gears because obviously I can like heap praise on you, but I want to fix the mistakes. So what is the thing that
Yeah,
you
that's good.
screwed? What do you feel like you struggled with the most in the past few days?
I'd say for one exercise of hash map, like to implement a hash map actually.
Really? Someone gave you that problem, or there was a
No, yeah, one little thing about collisions, to handle collisions.
Yes.
I guess I kind of struggle and I wonder why am I taking too long to understand this?
Uh-huh.
That was the only point. But was on I need to search for this problem.
Yeah.
But hold up. No, actually, that was a point where I had to really like analyze what I was doing. Just a minute. I'm gonna copy on the problem sheet.
Yeah. Send that to me. I'm very curious. Okay,
Because I didn't use the book actually. I took some implementation online.
Okay.
And I'm just trying to find the file because I implemented this like and ran. Where is this? It's opening. Yeah, here it is. I will copy on the bottom of the problem sheet. Oops.
Cool. That's fine.
Yeah. Here it is.
Okay, cool. So, getting a hash based on the characters, then assuming a hash table size is at 100. All right, cool. So then you have a hash table size max, and then you're populating this array of cells. Okay, and for get hash. Okay, yeah, sure. This should be of size max. Well, then
Yes.
you need to think about rekeying later on, but whatever. Let's just assume that it's size 100 for now. Get hash. If found is false for every single element. Why would you iterate through every single array if the
Because that is the collision. So I struggle, I'd say, more than normal for this point, actually.
But if the collision means that it would get your hash would map to the exact same hash, so then why not just use that? Oh, you're creating a 100 length array. Okay, no, you're creating an array here, or list here. But the collision here should your hash code should technically be in theory an index.
Yes, but indexes can be the same sometimes. They
Yes,
can have
correct.
collisions,
So
you know.
why do you
And
need
then
to? I see. I messed this up. So, because you have you have a list of lists. That's why.
yeah, that's it.
No, that's fine. So you're pulling that element at that index. So then now you're looking through that list at that entry.
Yeah,
Okay.
inside of the list, the sub list. Yeah.
Yes. So the length of entry. If the length of entry, comma. So this is a. Okay. And the element key is 0. Element at 0 is the key. What?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was not so clear.
This is not
like
clear at all.
I actually had to find something online to implement this. I was kind of struggling more than normal. That's the point.
Well, if
because
you have collision, you just overwrite it, right?
No, I need to like consider and include one more, you
Okay.
see. For example, yeah, if they collide at index 1, then I need to insert the node mapping to index 1, and then insert another node, just like in linked list. But here I'm
Okay.
using a list.
So then why not just get the element at the front? Why not just add to the front of the list then?
Yeah, it could be simpler.
Yeah, I don't understand why you iterate in general. You could just add the element to the front of the list and then be done with it. You don't need to iterate through that through the list that you pull out.
Yeah, that could be simple. Yeah.
So that was
That
very
was
confusing.
one problem. Yeah,
So yeah,
I had.
the next I would say the problem that you struggle with here I think is probably like the understanding what exactly happens during a collision operation. And so the iteration doesn't make sense to me. And I just don't see a reason why you would do that. Other than that, so I think you should be a little bit more careful when it comes to something like this. Really make sure that you understand what the requirement is in this situation.
Okay.
That's the only thing glaring I see here, but it's definitely a big part of the problem here. I think, yeah, that's it. So I definitely would have failed you if this was me asking you the question. But then also like if let's say that you're at Google, I know like what they love to do is get a little bit more expansive about these problems. So for instance, they'll ask you, okay, well, how do you handle concurrency with this? How would you handle resizing of the hash table?
Oh, I haven't considered.
Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah.
They love asking these questions. They're not gonna ask you to implement it. They'll probably just ask you it like in theory.
Okay, but you would like, what's the term? Like reject me, right? For why? Because was too complex my code,
This
or
part,
what?
literally, this part would have been like, okay, you got everything else right except for this, but this tells me you don't understand how a hash table or how that works. And if you
No,
did,
but I understand. I
but you
understood.
understood it,
Like
but
I just implemented.
you didn't handle it right. So I'm like, there's a disconnect between you understanding the idea and executing on it, which is just as good as not understanding it.
Even though it was working, like
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like saying, oh, I came with a naive solution that runs in order n squared time instead of the order n solution.
okay. The thing is, I was trying to add in the end of a list.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That's the right point.
Yeah,
I was
even
trying
if you
to add
want
in
to
the
add
end
the
of
end
a
of the
list,
list, just do list.append or whatever, right?
but yeah, maybe it will be the same. No, it's not gonna be the same. I need to really understand this actually.
Yeah. So it's either
That's
you
the point.
understand or you don't, and if you can understand it, you better execute on it. Otherwise, it's the same as not understanding.
Yeah.
So that's my thing. But yeah, like just to satisfy your curiosity for like being like an extensive question, it's definitely worth looking into how like some other structures handle this. But I'll give you like a taste of how I might have answered it if you want.
Oh, I think would be cool.
Okay. Yeah, so like for instance the first one for let's say like we're dealing with multi-threaded. So in other words, if you multi-thread things, then you basically end up with more possibilities of collisions. So what I would do is I would actually come up with a series of locks for each one of these, um, or for every single entry in the array. And then when I want to add, I generate the hash because this hash is static, right? And then I would acquire the lock for that particular index, and then do the operation then unlock. So for this get, it would be acquiring and releasing the same block as well. Same thing, same lock for each. I'd lock it by index. And then for rehashing, it would be I would definitely have to lock the entire every single row. So what I would do is I would try to acquire every single lock that I got, because essentially what would happen is that each of these indices would definitely, yeah, it's actually weird because if we assume that the hashing algorithm changes and the well, okay, let's assume that the core hashing algorithm doesn't change and the number just is just the modulus operator that changes. Divide by let's say 101. Then actually everything gets re-indexed. Shit. Because the reason why is because you have these lists, right? So then let's say I have Batman and I have Robin like in the same entry for some wild interest, right? Well, Batman would modulus 100. Let's say it ends in 2, and then Robin modulus 100 ends in 2. So those get keyed to the same list. But then if I modulus like say 110, or 120, then the ending number can change. So in other words, once I lock every single row, I have to iterate through every single element and then put them into a new array. Yeah, I actually have to do that shit, and then do an assignment to the new array and then deallocate the old array. So I'll admit that this is not the nicest way of doing things, but it's kind of hard for me to see like how else I would do it. But you kind of see like how I walk through the problem solving for this.
Oh yeah, you went step by step. Like
Mm-hmm.
you solve the problem of concurrency using the locks,
Uh-huh.
and the get and the add, right?
Right.
And then you handle the problem of the he hashing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like was pretty like divided your line of thought. Like it's pretty separated.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. I mean, definitely there's probably a better way of doing it, and I will admit I'm a little bit rusty on this, but yeah, like I would say that, yeah, that's pretty much what I got for you. So
There's one question.
I kind of want to address something in the comments. Someone says to handle collisions, we need a tuple for key value to find the right value associated with that key. That looks incorrect. Well, you don't necessarily need key value. You just take the key and then you just perform the hashing operation on this. And then you just take the modules out of it. There's no way this works as an naive idea. Yeah, it does actually. So more buckets means ideally less collisions when a load factor is released, say 75% of the capacity time to add more buckets. Yeah, so you definitely do run into some issue with resizing. So you're correct. But it's given already in the problem that assuming the hash table size is 100. So the problem is a lot less than what you think in scope than what you think, Mr. Mystics. But good catch. Yeah, sorry, you were saying? Okay, yeah, that's all I got. But I think what I wanted to point out is, like, each one, when I said the concurrency issue, what does it affect? It affects add, it affects delete, it affects get. It affects get, right? Okay. And so, yeah, once I do that, then I realize, okay, well, the way I do have to handle it is by unlocking each row. But I don't want to starve people who are just, like, getting stuff from or adding stuff to other rows as well. So, all right, yeah. So that answers the questions in the chat, I think. You still there? Hello. Oh, it looks like he dropped off. I think he might have. Yeah, it looks like his call disconnected. I mean, get by key doesn't appear correct. It just returns a list, right? Well, yeah, you're right. It does. It does return a list. Shit. Yeah. So this you're right. This doesn't needs to return the first element in that list if it exists. Otherwise, it needs to return null. Yeah, that's a good catch. And then delete here actually might cause a crash actually because you decide to attach none to it. So yeah, there's actually another bug there as well. Because this should be empty list actually. And then here if the list is empty, then return null. All right, let's see. Let me see if I can try getting him back. Guess he's okay. Why does get by key return the first element? So the reason why the way in his implementation, he basically has essentially a list of lists. So the get by key just means okay, he's gonna get the element at that index, and then return. What? Yeah. Why does get by key return the first element? Because like I said, he has a list of lists essentially. But in Python, it has this really nice and quirky heuristic where you can also grab the list by the index number. Yeah. But if you push multiple values into a list, how do you know which values are related to some key? Well, you know that because you have this hashing algorithm. This hashing algorithm essentially turns your key into an index. Shouldn't we iterate through the list to find the key, then return it? Yeah, that's true. You do actually have a good point here, there, and I didn't really think too much about that. But it seems like, oh, yeah, no. He has that right here. Yeah, he has that right here. So in which case, you actually do have... No, you're right, because it just has the index, but then you still need to be able to get the element out of there. Good catch. So then here you do need to actually get that. Man, I'm rusty then if I didn't catch that. Holy fuck. Yeah, no, he got the tuple. So actually he was right. He was actually right. I fucked up, man. I fucked up. But then, yeah. So then forget that you need to look at the hash, and then after that, you need to iterate through the list in order to look at the element that has the key, and then be able to pull that one. You're right. Yeah, I'm tripping, man. It's been a while since I've worked like with these data structures in depth. Most of my time and thoughts have been like just spent on algorithms, man. Hey, man, like I'm human too. If I make a fucking mistake like that, I'm admitting it. You know, I fucked up. This is simple chaining for hash collisions. Yeah, I totally fucking forgot about that shit, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like I don't. We generally don't ask like these types of like, oh yeah, implement a hash table sort of questions. So I'm totally off my game. It's all good. Personally, I get bored of reviewing this stuff, so I don't blame you for leaving it for a while either. Yeah. You know, cause I'll tell you what, like, I'll be surprised if anyone asks, like, implement a core data structure like this, on their interview, and I generally don't spend a lot of time on it, so, I mean, even I need a review once in a while. Like, if you told me to implement, like, Bellman Ford, or Dijkstra's off the top of my head, I couldn't fucking do it. Yeah, you did a data structure and algorithm course in university, like, 2 semesters ago. Hey, man, it's good to be good on the mechanics, you know? And you know, there's gonna be stuff that I don't remember, or I can't do, and that maybe you still remember from your university courses, and it's like, hey, like, it's all good. I'm sure there's like some calculus shit that y'all know that I don't fucking remember at all, and sometimes that does come in, that comes in pretty useful, even algebra, but you know, it's kind of like it's humbling, you know. Sometimes you just forget some shit, even no matter how much you read and learn. There's always some stuff you just like kind of like forget about, and that kind of bites you. Yeah, like, this question will never come up. Oh, I think we lost him. I think I had some internet troubles, guys. So I mean, like, well, I'll definitely wait to try and get him back. I mean, in the meantime, we can kind of go back and look over like some of these positions actually. Why not? Since let's continue this kind of discussion since we kind of left off on it. So let's see what JD stock did year to date. I mean, it doesn't really matter year to date, to be honest. What matters is like the past year. Okay, so in the past year, JD kind of got crushed. 29%. Microsoft stock up 9. Okay, cool. Chill. Seagate. Oh, ouch. Year to date, 70%. New holdings, 56% year to date, 57% year over year. In 1 year, they went, holy shit, ouch. Down 30%, down 50% year to date. Dash stock, down 50% year to date, 44%.
Yo, hello.
Oh, hello? Oh, hey, what's up? Hey, you're back? Or nope. Nope, he looks like he's not. Okay, and so let's see, like, the last one, Facebook. Facebook stock year to date, last in the year, 35%, year to date, 41%. Oof. Big oof. Yeah. But then let's see if you had invested in Apple, 22%, and only 15%. Let's compare that to S&P.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Sorry, internet trouble. Internet trouble.
All right. Yeah, no problem. It happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to just mention a few things. People brought up some pretty good points. And I realized I was the one who fucked up here. So instead of having a list of lists, you're having a list of pairs actually, because once you get the hash code, then you also have to match the key, and that's where your iteration comes in.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do.
Yeah, but the thing is that you need to do the same thing for your gets as well.
Oh, yeah.
And then you also
And I have done.
And then you also need to do the same. And your delete should also insert a list, not a none. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. I think I solved just one portion of the problem.
Right. So I think to me, like, this says that you didn't really quite understand this portion and how it affected the rest, because it's like, I think you just tunnel vision on the ad, which is kind of a human characteristic, but you got to really, like, always be mindful of, hey, well, now that I have this requirement here, I also have to do it and get and delete as well, or like everywhere else.
Yeah, replicate all the things. Yeah. I think probably stop because I was like more than 40 minutes. But anyways, it's gonna be a good exercise.
Yeah, the lesson to take away from here is just making sure that you understand what you're writing and how it affects other things.
Okay.
Cool. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it. I think that's the only thing I see here. But it's a lot of abstract stuff. Like, it's just one little mistake here that kind of threw you off. But other than that, like, I don't really see too many other glaring issues in the mechanics of your problem solving.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
That's good to hear. Very good. Okay. Since because like in the beginning I was struggling a lot, man. I have no idea. But anyways, let's see how that goes.
Yes. Okay. So go ahead.
That's the last sprint, right?
Yeah. We got 10 days to Microsoft, right? So let's do this while I still have you, and we can follow up in case like you have any questions. But I want to see if you're available Friday night or Sunday morning, because Saturday I got something to do. But either we can do Sunday morning for a mock interview, or we can do Friday night. Which one works for you?
I think Friday night. Friday night's better.
Okay, cool. Let's do Friday night then. Because let's start about that. But this I'm gonna give you a hard problem. I'm gonna give you like something that we would probably actually give you in like say some other interview. I think you're pretty much ready actually. We just need to keep up this like making sure and fixing ourselves for the next 10 days.
Okay.
But yeah.
And about exercises, would you recommend me to take the honor classes or just to focus on the tag at Microsoft questions?
Good question. I want you to start doing the tag Microsoft questions. At this point, you've pretty much gotten the hardcore mechanics down. All that's left is just get the leak code problem and just making sure that you can, when you submit, it's going to be right the first time you submit.
Okay, that's the thing to keep in mind.
Yep, make sure you're very careful about that. And 10 more days, man. You're doing good.
Okay, man. Actually, I promise this is the last point.
Yes.
I was reading like few of discussions on leak code. You know, like about people who just interviewed at Microsoft.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're asking a few questions of like related to. I think I told you this like in the first round. Related, for example, tell me your two like favorite programming languages and tell me the difference between them, you know, like in depth. And then, for example, process and threads, like things like that. And one question I think it's very curious because they asked, for example, the problem was to actually do some calculation in an array. Okay. And then after the candidate solved the question, they asked like a follow-up question. Okay, now imagine that we are in a distributed system. How would you parallelize
Mm-hmm.
this in different computers?
Mm-hmm.
And he had to kind of explain more in the like nitty gritty details. See,
Yes.
so I think, do you recommend me to like read something? Or, I don't know, just to have a idea how to answer those questions, or don't worry about this.
You're asking. So what they're asking is like distributed systems for a new grad. What? Seriously?
Like yeah, if the person, no, it's just a follow-up question. If you have like different computers, how would you uh, separate this in different computers to so it can run more effectively? The answer was kind of, I will divide the array into different computers and run this algorithm into different computers, and then take the result and then add up all together, you know.
Yeah.
So I just get worried about this because I'm actually now taking this course of distributed systems,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I'm still learning.
So I'm gonna make this simple for you. Look, when you take
Uh-huh.
a problem or like a piece of code, look for units
Uh-huh.
of work that don't interfere with each other. So one good one is like this, like loops, right? So let's say I
Uh-huh.
have for each, I'm looping through like every single element in an array, and I do a plus
Uh-huh.
one to every single element, right? Well,
Yeah.
in theory, I could just take each one of those elements and then send it off to another computer to just add one to it, and then give me back the results back into the array, right? Because adding one to one of the array elements doesn't affect me adding one to another array element, right?
Uh-huh.
So the trick is to take, basically it's one big dependency graph. What is dependent on what, and what is not dependent on what. And if you can organize these step by steps in such a way that they can be individual uniform pieces of work that you just recombine the elements at the last step, that's your parallel right there.
I see. I see. I can visualize. Yeah.
Yes. Look for individual units of work that are uniform, and that's what you're going to send off, and then that's the result you're going to merge back in.
Good. Good. I'll keep this in mind
Yeah. That's it's just general
for
principle.
some
You can adopt it to anything else. And for your programming language question, you should know the intricacies of Python, how things and memory management is done underneath the hood, at least just as a brief
Uh-huh.
curiosity. Now, for me, if you told me what are my two favorite languages and what's a trade-off between them, I could only give you like a surface level, like between let's say Java and no, I could kind of do it between Java and Kotlin. You know, I the basic is just understand your own programming language that well, and then if they come to
Uh-huh.
interview, just say I only know Python, but I can at least talk about
Uh-huh.
like all the mechanics underneath the hood, and then I think they'll be satisfied with that. But
Okay.
it kind of goes along the lines of, okay, how exactly do lists work? Are they passed by value, passed by memory? Are we copying them, etc., etc.? You know.
Okay.
So
I was thinking more about a general overview of the language. For example, Python, less verbals, uh, and Java, more reliable. I don't know, like
not the
something
answer.
more like this.
You want the mechanics underneath. You want like why should we like think of it this way. If we're using
Okay.
this language and we want to really use it, and any little mistake will blow us up, what are the mistakes that can blow us up?
I see. I see.
What are the things that we must understand about the language that will screw us up? So, for instance, pass by reference versus pass by value in Java, memory management. How does are there functions that we can call in Java to manually release memory, which there is, which I totally forget off the top of my head. But there's a specific function. I think it's on
Free.
finalize or something. Yeah. And then it's like also the internal memory leaks of Java that you can run into, JVM memory allocation, that sort of thing. That would be, I think, a good topic to talk about with interviewers, and then having a similar
Mm-hmm.
conversation about Python, since I think you're mostly writing Python.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you can talk about that, you're solid.
Good. Good.
Sure. All right. Any other questions?
No, I think that's pretty much it.
All right. Sounds good. Then I'm gonna let you go.
Okay, man.
All right.
Good Friday. Bye.
Yeah. Bye bye. Okay. I want to address a similar. I want to address a question that I think Mr. Mystic added. Do I not? I think it's like along the lines of, do I ever get bored of doing these mock interviews? I do the same through a company part time, and I feel like I'm just repeating the same information between each person. Yeah, I think that on some level, if you're just talking to individual people, and you just like each time you give an interview, you do something, you what's called, you have a different person coming through the door. You're going to be repeating yourself because everyone, I think most people, have fundamentally the same issues when it comes to coding and software engineering. Is that they don't make the distinction between coding and engineering. You know what I mean? It's like engineering means creating something and going through the engineering process, whereas coding is just the act of writing code. And so software engineering, by definition, must mean that you're solving a problem using code. And so a lot of people just have that misconception. So I do find myself repeating that when I interview other people, and then I talk to other people about this as well. I do find that I have some of those issues. But when you're working with one person, and then you kind of look and just see someone's progress over time, and you see like they're getting better. They're actually listening to you about the advice you give. You're talking about different things. You are, you're starting to get in more into like the detailed mistakes, and you're starting to talk more about like misjudgments and common things that can trip you up. And through that, you kind of learn, hey, wait a minute, I myself am also prone to this. I better watch out. So it's kind of like this monkey syndrome, almost, where like if you teach someone, it's almost like a reflection of yourself as well. Because if they're making a mistake after a while, then you most likely yourself are making that mistake, even if you don't realize it. Because if they're making a mistake and you haven't told them how to avoid it, or you've already have and they're still making the mistake, then it's kind of on you, you know. So at that point, it's like almost like a mirror, and it also helps me correct some of my own misfirings and misthinkings as well. So I think that's the rewarding part, just seeing someone improve, and of course the payoff is like, oh yeah, they get like some giga high offer that breaks the levels.fyi bans, you know? That's always the bragging right at the end. It's like, for all the grief and shit that we go through, getting that final result of, hey, this guy is crushing every single interview and went from some guy who couldn't pass interviews, it's insanely rewarding just watching that progression. So let's see, what do I think about the tech stop dripping and meta hiring freeze? That's the thing. It's that it affects, it definitely affects hiring for sure. And so if you want a job at this point, you need to be really good. Like, you need to be exceptional. That's my take on it. I think there is a lot more to it than there's a lot more to it than that in terms of business. But as far as you as the interviewer goes, you as the candidate goes, then you need to basically be able to. You need to be extremely competent and give the interviewer no reason to reject you. It's like if the interviewer can think, hey, we can do so much better, we can get a better person, they're not going to hire you, especially now where they can't be that loose with the money. But if it's like, holy shit, this guy, like, we will never find him again, or find a guy like him again, believe me, they will open their pocketbooks. And I think any engineering firm would do that as well. If you have a unique set of skills and you are a very good engineer, people will hire you. Like, for instance, let's say Hiroon Wright from Google, or like who's that guy who wrote Hadoop again? Oh, God, that name escapes me. The guy who's responsible for creating Hadoop. The co-creator of Hadoop is Doug Cutting. Is that the guy? I don't remember. Yeah. So if this guy who's responsible for making Hadoop walks into the door of, let's say, Facebook and says, "Hey, I'd like a job," they're gonna fucking throw so much money at this guy. You know, they're gonna throw so much goddamn money just to hire him. So they'll open their pocketbooks for a very extraordinary person. You just need to be. You probably won't be as extraordinary as him, but you should definitely be really, really good. So you get my point. What do I think about these big tech stocks dipping? Yeah, I think people are starting to realize the tide's going out. People are really realizing what it means to like invest intelligently and not in like meme stocks or Tesla. Like, seriously, I think this literally has been the best decision I've ever made. Where all I did, 100%, 80% in this, not even indexed to S&P. I think people really started to understand what it means to invest in quality businesses, which I've been doing for like a while. You know, I mean, I posted my portfolio and my year to dates on my blog. If I had been remotely indexed And to be fair, I am pretty indexed actually when it comes to year-to-date losses. But like my gains in the past year, So this is kind of like what Warren Buffett talks about. When he's talking about like, hey, when the tide goes out, you'll get to see who's swimming naked. You know. And then let's see, Burke in the past year, 9%, sweet, happy with that. Year to date, 3%. You could be losing 15% or you could be gaining 3%. I don't know, man. Who would you rather be? 1 year you could be gaining 9% or you could be break even. I'd rather be this. I'm sorry. I'd rather be Berkshire. How's Uber Eats hiring at the moment? No comment because they're my current employer. I'd rather not say anything that would get me in trouble. So, Warren Buffett at this point is beating the S&P on a 1 year time frame. So, and here's the funny thing. I'm pretty sure like the stock is going to be still pretty undervalued and they're still going to buy back the stock. If it does below like around 300, that's when they start buying back the stock. But like with everything falling, I'm pretty sure they're going to hunt for an acquisition now. But yeah, man. Berkshire Club. All right, let's clown on Tesla. Let's clown on Tesla for a hot second. Okay, wait, no, they're up 20%. I can't really clown on them. The 33% drop, like, okay, fine. But I really cannot clown this. I don't have a right to yet. So, everyone who got into Tesla, congratulations. I'm gonna stick with Apple. How hard was the Uber interviewing compared to something like Amazon? I want to say the Uber interview was a lot more structured, and I think they had clearer expectations. I don't know if it was easier or harder, actually. I don't recall it ever being harder for me. I'm strictly speaking of my interviewing experience in 2019. I want to say it was... I want to say it's a little... I'll describe it as straightforward. Not necessarily easier or harder, but it was straightforward, and it was clean for me. I knew what to expect. I knew how to do it. I think mostly because of my own preparations here. So, like, the techniques and stuff that I'm showing you guys here on stream is literally the exact same, the exact same techniques that I use for myself. And, of course, like, the way I teach it has changed, but the fundamental philosophy and idea has not. It's just the way I teach it to other people. That's it. So... overall, I'd rather not get too much into stocks, but I'm going to tell you straight up, if you, actually, I'll go a little bit side rant here. I see like a lot of influencers getting in on talking about stocks, and it's like, oh yeah, you should join this company because they're dipping. Oh my god, this company's great or whatever. Fuck. I mean, I take a very, very big offense to that, only because, not personally, but it's that if you're telling people what's good and bad and what to buy and what not to buy, it's gonna fuck with their fucking livelihood if shit goes south, right? And so I have a very big problem with that. It's like people are saying, oh yeah, you should gamble your career on investments, right? Like join Tesla because it like went up 10x in 5 years, and it'll 10x in 5 years after that, and so you should like look for these companies to join. And for me, it's just like I've never thought it very good to do that at all. Like I make it very clear that the distinction between your career and what you should invest in should actually be completely different. Because fundamentally, your ability to like make money as an engineer is tied to your fucking skill, not what the stock does. I mean, to an extent, yeah, the money, like your stock compensation, does get tied to stock performance. But year to year, day to day, like anything can happen year to year though. You writing some fucking feature, if Tesla goes up like 30% of the year in a single year, like what did you do at Tesla to add to that? You know what I mean? Like, did you do something at Tesla that allowed it to gain $100 billion, like $200 billion in market cap in a single year? What was your revenue from your projects? You know, what was the net profit of those projects? If you can't answer that, you don't fucking deserve to be tied to the fucking stock performance. You know, but if you're a valuable engineer, that's a different ballgame we're talking about here. You know, like you can negotiate your own pay, and then whatever the stock does is whatever. You know. So I have a very big fucking problem with people saying, oh yeah, you should gamble on like investments with your fucking career as a ticket. Yeah, of course it's nice to build a great company and take a stake in it, but it's like at the end of the day there has to be some connection between the value you provide and your pay. And I think people completely miss that fucking point. Not financial advice is the biggest red flag ever. Yeah. Like, I don't mind talking about the valuation of these stocks. Because now whether or not you should join these companies, I never say based on stock price. I never say based on, oh yeah, I never based on price action. I never fucking say that. I say they're a good company, bad company because XYZ and these fundamentals in the 10K. These are the things I look for. But these are not the things that I would say make or break things for joining companies. Everyone has their own different reason. Some people might want to build on a product they believe in. That's perfectly fine. That might be a reason why you might not want to join Apple because maybe there are no projects you believe in. Perfectly legitimate. But to join Apple because stocks at a low price, you should join because it will make you rich. I fucking reject that message. I fucking reject that message. I genuinely like Apple because I work there. And that's why I hold a very large position in it. And I fully disclose that. I don't tell people to run out and buy all of Apple, because even if you buy Apple, there's no guarantee that this is a good price. And I'm not going to tell you if it's a good price or not. I'll do a valuation on it, but whether or not you think it's a good one is just that's up to you, and of course that's the whole I'm not a financial advisor shit, right? But I put my money where my fucking mouth is. And the results show, this fucking huge ass bull run, the fucking price stability, Warren Buffett doing it, I have no problem saying these facts. And and I live and die by it. And it's the same thing I do on this channel, for people's coding careers and for their interview. I put my fucking money and my reputation where my mouth is. I even though this is the M right now, he's a student, right? This is the longest I've ever worked with someone on a long-term basis. And it's easily twice as long, almost twice as long as I've worked with anyone else. But I'm willing to see it through because I would rather get the results than and I do not tolerate failure for myself like that, if this guy fails and I put in that much effort, I'm going to be fucking pissed at myself. I can't live with myself if that shit happens. So I made a commitment to getting him those results no matter how long it takes. Or at least reasonably long, So that's why that's what I do here, I don't think people do that shit. And it just really fucking pisses me off when they try to be quote unquote helpful. If they're not willing to put their fucking reputation and money where their mouth is, they have no right to quote unquote help people because what if that help goes south? Huh? If that help goes south, what are they gonna do? Oh, you should have done your research. Oh, you should have trusted your own judgment. Well, they're asking you for help because they don't have that judgment. They've tried everything and they're asking you for help because they trust you. So I see if you fucking pull that crap, you're betraying people's trust, and it's horribly fucking insulting. All right, rant over or whatever fuck you want to call it. Hi Edward, what are the key things you look for in a candidate before deciding to work with them on a coaching program with them? How risky is it for me? Okay, so let's clarify a few things. The one and only thing I look for is hard work. That's it. If you work hard and you do what I say, that's it. That's pretty much it. The rest of it are really minor. It's okay, can you get interviews? It's if you can't get interviews, okay, well that's a small thing. But I'm certain that I could reach out to my network, get you a recommendation, and then be able to try and hoop you in. Especially if the recommendation comes from me or an internal employee. I think we can work around that. But I would much rather. But that's almost never been a requirement, That's been that's been something that we could work on, but that's never been the core thing. It's always been, do you work hard and do you do what I ask? And you'll be very surprised. A lot of people say they want it, but when they when push comes to shove and I become a fucking asshole about these things, a lot of people crumble. And I don't really like wasting my time like that. If people crumble and they quit, okay, here's your refund back. All right, next guy. But then I lose the fucking 4 weeks I work with, 4 or 6 weeks, right? So it's just it's me losing my time and my reputation as well. Because you guys see it. Yeah, everyone I work with from now on, I stream. Just so you guys can walk through the results. You guys can see step by step that what I do, I'm not bullshitting you guys. I put my reputation out there. So really, that should answer the question. It's not money I lose. It's my time and my reputation. And I can lose money. I don't give a fuck if I lose a little bit of money over this shit. But I cannot afford to lose my reputation. If I'm going out there telling people, hey, what you're doing is wrong, you guys don't know what you're talking about, I better show I know what I'm talking about by getting people results. So, people might say, oh, you're not risking money. No, I'm risking my reputation out here. I think that's worth a whole lot more than money. Because if my reputation goes to zero, I don't get clients. No one believes in me. No one believes in me. I don't make any money off this in the future. It literally means all the future value benefits that I can get from this business goes to zero. So imagine killing a business. Like every day I put that risk out there. So I always say I have a whole lot more skin in the game than most other people. Like, people can be independently wealthy and they can make money from this, and it's like, yeah, whatever. But if they don't put the reputation on the line or anything similar, then let's say the business goes south, then what do? They just fold it up, call it a day, say, hey, thanks for all the fish, guys, later. They have no skin in the game, so how can you trust what they say? I'm just putting it out there. The people who sell courses and information on on engineering, how do you trust what they say? Because they have some background? Okay, yeah, that's the first check, but that shouldn't be the only reason. The question is, well, are they going to stand by what they said? Are they going to apologize for any mistakes that they make? Are they going to apologize if shit goes south? You can't have it both ways. If your advice works and you claim the credit, then you also need to be able to take the blame when your advice doesn't work. So, I don't know. I just see it as insanely problematic when people just do this kind of crap. Just sell information, claim to be helping people, but but have no skin in the game. Anyway, that's enough of that. Are there any other questions or any topics people want me to talk about? I'm just getting started with Grok and EPI, then eventually LeetCode. Do you think that's a good approach? I'm afraid I'm not. No, that's basically the right approach. If you read the guide, the link's in the description, then yeah, that's basically the right way to do it. You should read the guide in the what's called description, and then you'll see you'll see my plan. I literally outline how to use these resources. Ability to recognize patterns. Yeah. So the thing is that when you recognize patterns, you need to be able to break down the characteristics that lend itself to that pattern. So for instance, I always bring up the 2-pointer, right? So if you're iterating through an array, you need to recognize, hey, yeah, I just need to be able to move 1 point, do subarrays, right? That's one characteristic of a problem that allows you to do 2-pointers, or sliding windows. So it's being able to recognize the characteristics of the problem, and once you get past that, then it's being able to break down the problem into its raw components in general, come with a naive solution, and then recognize from those raw components what patterns may or may not apply. So the patterns is just the very first step. I think people really just stop on step 1. But it's so much more than that. The ability to break down patterns is just similar to being able to break down problems in general. So, all right, okay. Any other questions? Going once, going twice. How's my work-life balance at Uber? I refrain. I would prefer not to talk about my current employment at Uber again, just so I don't piss off the people, the powers may be. How do I know when a candidate is ready? It's an instinct. Basically, if they're not making any major mistakes. If it's minor ones that are extremely situational, then usually that means the candidate's ready. But if the candidate's making some really glaring avoidable mistakes, then they're not ready. So. Oh, what the fuck? Ooh. The coins themselves are counted as company assets? Oh shit. Well, assuming this is worth anything. Alright, I guess that's it for the stream, guys, unless, people have other questions. Thank you all for joining me. Per what I mentioned to M, we're going to be having a mock interview Friday night, so 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Please join me. And yeah, thank you all for joining me. I'll see you guys then. Feel free to join me on the Discord. Reach out to me on Twitter. I'm very active there. I'll be happy to answer any questions you guys have. Until then, I'll see y'all later. Have a good night.